Whew. Hey everybody, it is Lewis Porter Jr. here on the lovely first day of the greatest month of all times, because it is August, my birth month, which I revel in, don't get it wrong. I'm a huge fan of the month, so it was very nice to have it. Also going on, that's driving me crazy and giving me slight jealousy, I can't even admit, it's how much jealous I am, is that it's also the start for people to travel to and fro GenCon. That's right, the big mecca that I guess all geeks are drawn to play games and have a great time. And if you're smart, if you're very, very smart, you can do a lot of good business and make a lot of good contacts. I think if you're in the industry, you should be going. I'm not going. I know a lot of people I know who are not going due to various reasons. I'm not going because of the most basic reason, my son Lucas. But I thought to myself, even though I'm not going, even though I would not be there and I'm really pushing anything, how can I really effectively reach a lot of people and do something kind of cool? So I came up with something. So that's what this whole thing's about. So before we get into all that, let's talk about some other stuff going on. A little more weirder but interesting. So as of late, when I use the word late, I mean as of the last couple days, I've been talking to one of my artist friends, Santi Cassis, who did the cover for Neo Exodus, has done a lot of work for Esper Genesis. We were talking about new artists, because he had a new artist he wanted to show me. He's like, hey, I've got somebody I think you think is very interesting. I was like, hey, very cool. So I went through her portfolio, and I'm looking. It's like a lot of good 2D work, good stuff. Still young, still beginner, still fresh, still potential there. I would see her kind of as a young Brian Semi. I can see the potential. I can see the potential and growth in the basic art, where it's going to be really, really awesome. A couple more years. So it's like, hey, all right. Hey, Paul, what's going on? Hey, Lee, what's going on? Paul, I hope you're enjoying your hotel room. I thought it was quite nice. And that courtyard actually kind of looked nice for indie. But I'm guessing the humidity is somewhere around hell. So, it is indie. I'm not, I know how that is, having lived there. So, yeah, all that's going on. So she's also a 2D and 3D animator. So I was like, she's an animator. Maybe I should ask her some questions about Grand Theft Exodus. And first, some people are going, what the hell is Grand Theft Exodus? Grand Theft Exodus was and still is a webcomic I've been working on since like forever. And I've been trying to get it online. It has fallen through several times. And I'm still got the script done, which is pretty good, but haven't been able to find the right artist to do the art for it. The style I want to go for is more cartoony, Batman Beyond, Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, that kind of clean, Paul Dini style, where it still looks like a cartoon and has that same kind of feel, but it's still cool and modern with the effects. There's a lot of artists who are doing stuff like that now. Jake Parker, who has a channel on YouTube, does a lot of the style that I like, so I think that'll work well for Grand Theft Exodus, which of course is about Neo Exodus. So I'm speaking to her, but I kept saying, how much does it really cost to do a 2-minute, 3-minute video that we could tell the story? I'm like, what does it really cost? I'm like, what's the worst? What could happen? I find out it's a good price. We move on. Maybe I find out. Maybe I can afford it somehow. Maybe there's a Kickstarter potential to it. Maybe there's something there. So I'm going to talk to her about that, and we're going to get more in detail. So that's kind of cool and kind of interesting, which I find interesting. But I find weird things interesting. So there you go. Also with that, I got some new artwork from Josh about some of our new boats. I pitched him an idea. He agreed to it, so we're like, okay, great. Now we're moving back and forth to get it together. I'm going to have this out sometime in the middle of the month. And that'll kind of be like our thing. We'll probably release like 2 pieces of art every month. Boats. I'm talking specific ships. And I'd also like to do some airships too. Don't get wrong. When I use the word ships, I'm using that term as a general vehicle that you travel by. It doesn't have to be an actual boat that floats in water. It can be a sky ship. It can be a lightning rail, which is something all you Eberron fans would probably like. A nice little map on a nice little rail. Boom, boom, boom. Ready to go. And even better, if you want to make some products for Eberron and you need a lightning rail, I'm sure that's something you definitely want to have. But I digress. But it is one of the coolest things. I gotta admit, lightning rail, great name. I'm still jealous of that name. Can't even lie about that. So, here we go. Anything else I gotta tell you before we get to the big stuff? I'm working on stuff. The Kickstarter. We're still working on stuff behind the scenes. Michael McCarthy will probably be giving us the last adventure very soon. Actually, congratulations to Michael McCarthy. He just moved to a new home. That's what we always say. That's kind of good. We like to hear that. So, once he gets that stuff kind of settled down, once he gets a little bit of stuff together, we'll probably get the last, the Omega to the Alpha. And since we have both of those, then we can start focusing on the side treks and how many we plan to do. So we're moving in the right direction. It's moving positively. I still need to sign some art. I've got to sign some art. I paid some people yesterday. Jeff Lee's a happy man. I'm sure that by the weekend, Michael McCarthy will be a happy man. So, got to pay. That's the other thing. Got to pay out stuff. Drives you crazy. But that's how we go. So this kind of ties in. Kind of weird segue, but a nice segue to the name of this post. All right. So, if this is a week for GenCon, and everybody knows that every major influential geek person with some money, something like that, is probably going to be at GenCon. Because GenCon's an expensive trip. It's not a cheap trip. You got to pay for the flight, most people, or you drive. You got to pay for the hotel room. Figure a hotel room, $125 to $150 a night. You do 4 nights, $600 just there. And then, got airfare on top of that. A couple $400, maybe $300-400 on top of that. So that's $1,000 you spent. So if you're going, you're spending some money. This is a vacation for you. For some people, it's a vacation to sell products, so they'll be making some of that money back. Other people, they're just going for the fun of it. Hey, Mike, what's going on? Hold on a second. So you got all this stuff going on, da-da-da-da-da. The problem is like, okay, if you can't go to the con, and let's be honest, if you're a small one-man company like me, or you're a single parent or something like that, it's kind of difficult to do that kind of stuff. It just physically is. You're like, look, I'd love to go. I'd love to be there having a great time. But once again, I've got a young son who has medical issues. I can't just, drop him, leave him with anybody. There's other stuff. So what can you do to get yourself known and seen, even though you can't be at the con? Now, let me tell you, this isn't my idea. I stole this idea. I think it works very well. I'm just stealing it. It's an idea I heard. It makes a lot of sense. And it's rather cheap. It's like $250. That's all you really need. Is $250. If you do it right, you'll spend $250 over 3 days, and you'll probably have the biggest impact around, 30,000 individuals will probably be impacted by what you do. And now some of you are like, well, what's your planning? Well, it's very simple. All right, since we know the location, since we know people are going to do stuff on the weekend, we know the time, we know the location. What you should do, and this is what I would tell from other people based on the facts I've checked out and worked for me, I would do yourself a favor and put some money down for Facebook ads. Okay, you're like, oh, Facebook ads. I've always heard about doing Facebook ads, but I've never done one. Well, this might be a perfect time for you to do one, because in one place, you're going to have thousands and thousands of geeks. I'm going to guess, I don't know how many really people come. I'm going to say 50,000 come. Whatever that real number is, I don't know. But enough to go, okay, I think I might want to advertise to some of them. Facebook is a great way to do this. I've heard about using Facebook ads for a long time. I've always been like, well, I don't get it. Is it really that good? Is it really that important? So I've done small tests for myself. When we were doing our ebook release, actually we're still doing, but we haven't put it out in a while, but when we were doing our ebook release, I did targeted Facebook ads based on a couple factors, which I didn't know initially you could do, but now I know you can do. You can zone on age, sex, and location. So I did something kind of nifty. I found the 20th most populated cities with the highest readers of fantasy. And let me tell you, Google has everything. You can Google questions like that all the time. They'll give you a list. You compare a list. You figure out, okay, and then you do advertising. So that's what I did. I picked locations that would fit my criteria. And then I picked everybody within a 50-mile radius. And basically what I did is I put an ad together. Check this out, whatever it is. I placed the ad up, and the ad would pop up in people's threads. This way you always see sponsored ads once in a while. Well, this is the same kind of tactic. So the sponsored ads came up. Some people had never seen it before, kept seeing it over and over, because you usually people will see it at least 2 or 3 times. And if there's something interested and the art's good, they'll click on it and they'll go. You'll get the interest, and they click on it, they'll go to wherever you're sending them. Or maybe you just want to have them look at an image or whatever. Whatever you want to do, it's your choice. You set it up that way. So that's what I did. I did that with my books. I got a lot of response. I'm like, okay, well, let's try this out with other products. So I tried it out with other products, still worked. So now I'm like, all right, look, this is a couple weeks ago. I'm like, GenCon's coming up. How many people are going to be at GenCon? You know, thousands, tens of thousands easily. So why don't I do some quick research and think about how I can use that knowledge to help promote myself. So I get an ad up coming for our upsetting Kickstarter. Our Kickstarter starts on the 18th. People are going to be at GenCon having a great time. In their Facebook feeds, we put an ad up. Now, here's the thing. I didn't just put the ad up saying, okay, anyone in Indianapolis, blah, blah, blah. No. I was very, very specific about this. I got the location of where the convention is being held, and I said anyone within I think it was a 3-mile radius or even 4-mile radius, I might have got to. Anybody within a 4-mile radius of this location from Friday morning at 9 a.m. to Sunday at 5 p.m., I want to push this ad to them. Now, I didn't just say, oh, generic ad. No. I was very, very specific. I said, here's 10 things that people who are interested would be interested by stuff. So, Pathfinder, D&D 5th edition, tabletop gaming, RPGs. Jeez, it's a big lizard. That lizard was probably 3 feet long. That's why I was like, geez, it's a big lizard. So we've got all this stuff. You got like 10 different things to choose from. Now, here's something else cool you can do. All right, that's 10 things. You know, Game of Thrones, that kind of stuff. To get people who would be fans of that to check out this. Now, here's something else you can do, which I thought is doubly brilliant. You can add to that list. You can say, anybody who has something from this top list, and you do a second list of 10 things that are fantasy. So maybe it's the same 10 things. But you find it, tell it, say, hey, if somebody has a match between any items in both of these lists, like one in one and one in the other, send this ad to them. See, what it kind of does is, if you send the original 10, you've kind of got a niche group. Most people will have like one of those things covered, even they may or may not be fans. But the odds of having 2 people cover the same thing is still pretty high, but also narrows your focus. So that's what I did. I'm going to have the ad run virtually 2 days, well, 3 days really, but whatever. And we're going to keep sending it to their Facebook ad. So when they're gaming, they probably won't be looking at their phone. But when they stop, people want to see if something cool's happened. They'll check through a thread. Boom, my ad's going to pop up. And this is going to happen at GenCon for days straight. And based on, they roughly estimate that I'll get, altogether the whole set, like 30,000, a little bit over 30,000 people or impressions looking at this. Now, 30,000 impressions is pretty nice. When you think about, for 30,000 impressions, it cost me $250. $250 of people at an event where they're already hyped on buying stuff. They're already interested in buying stuff. Their mindset's already there. How does that affect me money-wise? How does that affect me? Well, I'm willing to bet you, out of the 30,000 impressions, I'll be lucky. I mean, realistically, I think I'll get at least 1% easily will clip on stuff to check it out, because that's very realistic. That's nothing surprising. That's nothing amazing. And you go, well, 1% is only 300. Yes, I potentially will touch 300 people easily to get some kind of feedback. Now, imagine if all 300 people become fans. If all those guys become fans of my Kickstarter and they're willing to give me, let's say, $10 for a Kickstarter, that's $3,000 right there. Now, it cost me $250 to do that. $250, $3,000 return, a little more than 10 times what you got back 10 times what you paid for. That's good money no matter how you cut it up. And it's real simple. And like I said, $250 is not a lot of money. It's not. It really isn't. Some people are like, well, that is kind of a lot of money. Yes, it is in theory some money. But the potential to reach out and touch that many people in an area, focus on what you're talking about and interested in, to get them to possibly within 2 weeks give you more money, is really kind of like advertising that's just beyond worth itself. I figured it out, what was it? For 30,000 impressions, we'll just call them impressions, to pay $250, I'm paying 0.00 8 cents. Less than a penny for each one of those. Less than a penny. Hell, 80% of a penny. Now, is it going to be a good investment? Yeah. It'll probably be good without me even trying hard. Wow, man, dude trying to run me over in a truck. Stop sign and all, didn't care. If he hit me, I would have fell down and faked an injury and made it look real good and video hit the entire thing. So, yeah, I'm good. So, here we are in the situation that you possibly could get 1% return. But honestly, a more realistic number that's honest and true is more like 3%. Hell, even 3.5%. At that point, that becomes 1,000 people. 1,000 potentially new or interested people to support your Kickstarter that are interested enough to click to check out more about your Kickstarter. And if it's something really cool, they're going to tell their friends, like, hey, did you see this Kickstarter thing? What is this? I've never seen this before. What is that? What is that, a rhinoceros? Wait a minute, that rhinoceros has 4 arms. Wait a minute, that rhinoceros is wearing a kilt. So, and once again, I set this up way in advance. How did I set this way in advance? I did all that artwork you saw. I kept promoting all that artwork you saw. Kept promoting it over to our Kickstarter event page I talked about, where I talked about our digital release party we're doing the day, 15 minutes before we start the Kickstarter. I've talked about all that stuff, and the focus for this ad is to that page. So, you're going to see the picture of our rhinoceros, guys, or Calathon. You're going to see all this stuff, and if you're a fantasy fan, I know I've rigged this thing enough to make you go, what's that? If I get you to say, what's that? And you click on the link, I got you. Now, I might get, 20% of the people clicking on. I may not get those people as fans, but I think I'll get enough that the $250 I'll invest will be worth its weight in gold. And this is something that anybody could do. You can do this at if you have a local con like this, if the numbers are pretty decent and you can work it, you can do the same thing. If you're going to be at DragonCon, same kind of scenario. Pick the fan base, focus on the specific people you want to approach with the information, and do the exact same thing. It's not difficult. It's actually quite easy, and it works pretty well. If you want to try this out maybe with local stores that you do stuff with. All right, suppose you live in, I use New York City, because that's you'll need something like that kind of big. And suppose within where you live, there's 5 or 6 comic book stores or gaming stores or whatever. You could set up little hotspots around each one of those areas, maybe a mile away from them, or maybe even a mile is reasonable. And then anybody that comes in within a mile will possibly see your ad for your thing. Because most people within a mile of a place are probably fans. They've got people close by. People at the store will get it if they're there for a long time. There's lots of ways you can do this. And this is a really simple way to do it. And it doesn't really cost you a lot of money. You can set the budget for yourself. If you got $20 to do it, you spend your $20. Just narrow down what you're asking for, just extremely narrow, so you get the best return for your money. Don't just say, I want to send ads to everybody within this 1 mile. No. I want to send ads for males 13 to 32 who are fans of fantasy and tabletop gaming. And if you want to get really good, pick a video game that might go, or a video game that might be related. Boom. And you do 3 like that, and it'll only send ads to those people. And if you spend that, $20, $30, you might get a massive return, because you might hook with someone who did not know about you, has some money to spend on you, or someone who's just like, wow, this hits a lot of things that I like. Like, if you want to get me, gaming is always good. Business is always really good too. Samurai films, animation, sci-fi, always. You get 2 or 3 of those together, it probably will pop my feed. I'm like, oh, what's that? Because I know one in particular. I'll tell you my favorite one. Phoenix Point. Phoenix Point. The guys who make XCOM have this new game coming out. I've seen this thing in my thread so often, it's crazy. And I'm a huge XCOM fan. I always have been. I was a fan of the original game, a fan of the update. This looks like the same kind of feel to it. There's some more stuff they changed, of course, but I would be their kind of person to be like, yep, that's for me. And that's what they've done. They focused on me. Sometimes you've got to think, really, really, really small and detailed. So you can get those rabid fans who'd be into you. You know, that's how you get those super fans. If they like the thing you like, you know, all right, I'll use our upcoming Kickstarter. You know, we approach fantasy guys, but we also put Spelljammers in there. Because we knew if people who like GIF see our Kalathon would be like, ooh, what's that? They've got big old muskets, and they've got forearms, and they're wearing kilts. Oh my God, these guys remind me of the GIF. That's what we try to do. We try to get people to remind the connection, and let me check this out. Because the more they say, let me check this out, the more opportunity you have to sell to them. And that's something that, you know, we need to focus on. Selling to people. Get them interested, get them selling. Oh, this is really cool. I got to check this out. Bada boom. Oh, this is really interesting. I got to check this out. Bada boom. That's how you do it. That's what the focus is. All right. So I gave you that good piece of information. I hope that some of you are going to be using that, because really, it's not a super duper plan. It's not like I'm the revolutionary guy. It's like, no, a lot of guys are doing this. The problem is, a lot of small companies aren't. A lot of small companies aren't thinking about tactics like that, like picking local stores to do that at, or where there can't be at a con, or even better. Here's one's great. So, people who are D&D fans are most likely going to be playing at Winter Fantasy. I don't know if they still call it Winter Fantasy. I still call it Winter Fantasy because that's what I call it. So wherever Winter Fantasy is going on, but the time period is going to be going on, those guys are hardcore, you know, living campaign guys. So they're going to be fans. So if you introduce some stuff to them that they might be digging, like hell, even the Eberron book that just came out. If you could find something to get them excited, like, okay, let's see that lightning rail. We want to do a train for a lightning rail. People want to, ooh, that's a cool piece of art. I'd love to have something like that. Well, here you go. We'll do an ad like that, or maybe we'll do an ad really saying, you know, if you're a fan of living campaigns, you check this thing out. They get them interested. Same kind of tactic, same kind of thing. Nothing really revolutionary, but I picked the right location at the right time to get the maximum effect. And really, I mean, you know, so you put those restrictions on there, and then you just put it out there. Bada bing, bada boom. It's that simple. It's that simple. It's not complex. It's not like rocket science. It's that simple. They will probably see it in the thread, and they will probably use it to click on to find interest. But the ad's got to be interesting, the art's got to be interesting, and they got to be willing to say, hey, what's that? I got to check that out. That's kind of what your focus should be. Getting people to say, hey, what's that? Let me check that out. I don't think everybody does that. I think some people do it, some people don't. I think it's smart to do that. I think if you do it well, it will generate income for you. I think if you do it really well, it's going to generate a lot of income for you. And this is how you can attend things and be places that, you know, financially you may not be able to. Like I said before, when we started this, if you want to do this whole thing, to go travel to GenCon, do all that stuff, you're looking at least $1,000 out of your pocket. I'm telling you to spend 1/4 of that, get the same level of interest, get people out there, and possibly get some additional sales, or at a minimum, get some additional fans. So I think that if you focus on that kind of stuff, you should be good. Everybody's driving up on me today. What's up with that? So I just think that's a smart way to do it. I think that's a positive way to do it. I think you can do it. And like I said, you don't have to spend the $250. You can spend less. But the money you spend will be a good spend for you in the long run. Because that's money that's going to save you. Because you're not going to get like that many people. You got to find cons to do that. You got to find large places where you can specifically advertise to people like microscopically that fit the kind of content you're looking to sell. There you go. All right, that's it. I'm done for my walk. I'm almost at my doors. So, I hope if everybody's not at GenCon, sorry you're missing out. For the people who would like to go or people who are trying to market, do what I say. I'm going to tell you what it's like when I get at the end of this whole thing. You'll find out on Friday, I may be taking some time off. It's Friday I'm off. And next Monday I'm off. I'm taking a little small mini vacation. So, I may or may not be doing a video, but I'll tell you either way, even if it's a late night thing on Saturday or something, about how the money went. But I'm thinking it went pretty well, or it's at least going to go pretty well. Whew. Hot today, but thank God it was windy. So there you go. If you've got any questions or anything you want to ask, as always, feel free to put them in the comments below, or just shoot me a post on Facebook. You know I'm always on. Ugh. And that's about it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad I've walked. What time is it? Ooh, good time. And I will talk to you all later.